Samuel, I hope no matter how old you get, you'll never get tired of adventures. And I'm your example that it can all be fun for years and years. For example, I was in my 60s. I was mid like 63 or 64 when I was living in Houston, and I was going to move to San Francisco to get a job. No, I was going from the job, and I was going out to get another job in San Francisco. And I decided I was going to drive. And all I had was a little Tacoma pickup truck, a small truck. You can't adjust the seats. There's no, it's very small leg room. It's a great little truck, but it's definitely not intended for a long drive. So it was probably pretty crazy of me to decide I was going to throw the few things that I had in the back of the truck and take off for San Francisco. One thing that I learned driving around Texas was that the freeways and the highways in Texas are the most boring in the world. So I decided to take my departure from Houston in the middle of the night or dinner time, so I would be driving all night long. And I was driving all night long, and it was okay. It was the weather was comfortable, and I was happy because I knew that outside the window and all that dark was absolutely nothing. It's the most boring drive in America, I think, across Texas, right under the Panhandle. But I started off at night, and at first I was thinking, well, I'll drive. I'm starting out at night. I'll wait and I'll stop in a hotel in the morning and get something to eat. I had a little box of snacks in the car, but no real meals. But as the morning came, I said, I'm feeling okay. Maybe I'll go a little further. And so I kept driving. And one thing about Texas is this was 1,000 mile drive from Houston to San Francisco, and half of that was in Texas. The other half was outside of Texas. So the next morning, I was finally getting out of Texas, but I said, hey, this is kind of fun. I'm having a good time here. I'll keep going, and I kept eating the snacks. And the only time that I would stop was when I needed to go to the bathroom and get some gasoline. And that was it. Other than that, no hotel. I didn't stop for the hotel as I planned or for the restaurant. I just kept going. I said, okay, I'll see how far I can go. And I kept telling myself, well, I'm okay. It was hard for me because my legs would get all cramped up. So I'd have to drive with my leg would be sitting up on the, my foot would be up on the dashboard, and the other foot would be on the gas pedal. And I guess I was lucky I didn't get in any accident because it wasn't very good driving. But I kept going, and after kept going on to the new and some new states, and finally, and I kept saying, well, okay, I'll just when I stop for gas, I'll just close my eyes for about 2 minutes, and then I'll keep going. See how far I can get. It's kind of my motto for my life. Let's see how far I can get here. But it's not really very smart for a guy of my age in a vehicle like that to be driving. But I didn't care if it made sense. And so I finally kept going. And by the time I reached California, I drove into Los Angeles. I was completely exhausted. And it was the next night. And I was on the road because I kept going. And in Los Angeles, I had to stop, and I went into a hotel and asked them, could they help me reach this address that I had in San Francisco. They couldn't really help me, so I just kept going. They could just help me, and I kept on the highways. And I was, another full night driving, and just getting about a minute or two rest while I was at a gas station, and eating these snacks, the peanuts and stuff that I had in the car with me. And I kept going and going. And by the time I reached the San Francisco Bay Area the next afternoon, I was really wiped out. And just before I reached San Francisco, I called Monica, your auntie Monica, who was living in San Francisco, and to let her know that I was getting close. And she told me later that I was completely delirious. I didn't know, I wasn't making sense on the phone. I was so tired. But that didn't stop me. So I kept going. But then it finally caught up with me, the exhaustion, because it can't be that complicated. And it's not. But I couldn't find, for the life of me, I couldn't find the way to get off of the main north-south highway and across the bridge into San Francisco. And I stopped and I asked two or three people, and I was driving around, and I would get lost in the Bay Area, these tunnels and all the suburban areas on the other side of the Golden Gate and the San Francisco Bay, but not on the side that I needed to be on. So finally, it took me, I stopped for three times to ask questions, and this took me over 2 or 3 hours. And so when I finally got into San Francisco and found this place, it had been a 40-hour drive with no breaks, no food, no hotel, nothing. And I reached my friend's house one way or the other, and I went in and I crashed, and I didn't wake up until almost 24 hours later. I was so tired. But that was, why not, man? Why not? The only thing I lost at it was the lid off of a big plastic carton that I had in the back of the truck. It flew off at some point near Sacramento, I think. Other than that, I guess I could have got myself in a really bad accident, but God looks after drunks and fools and adventurers, it seems. So I got in one piece and had a great adventure story to share with you. And I'm hoping you enjoy this and all the other adventure stories that I'm working on, because I've got a lot more. I keep thinking up new ones all the time. So tighten your seatbelt, fasten your seatbelt, and let's get going with some more. Okay, buddy, you take care. Be good to your mom and dad. Love you. Bye.